Everyone, this one shot's going to be two episodes. I hope you will love it. A car crash of both Jungkook and Taehyung hospitalized, but when Jungkook wakes up, he doesn't remember Taehyung anymore. Taehyung feeling guilty because of the accident will do anything to make Jungkook recovery as pleasant as possible, even if it comes to cost of their relationship once they had. So this is going to be a happy ending. I hope you will love it. Stuffed Taehyung ground and he rubbed his belly as he had already popped the bottoms of his jeans. He leaned back and said, Jungkook clenched. He was still eating. Taehyung had devoured almost all of his food in one no time, and now he had to suffer the consequences. They had decided to go out and eat when they both men didn't want to cook dinner that night and just have a spontaneous date night, intriguing both men more. So here they are at a fancy restaurant because they always found a reason to celebrate that they were together. Jungkook was his heart and was rubbing his belly and smiled when he saw the very obvious ring on his finger. It sparkled in the light of the restaurant and Jungkook felt proudness swelled up his chest. He put that there. What? Taehyung asked as he saw Jungkook smiling at him. Did I spell something somewhere? Taehyung looked down at his shirt and didn't find anything. Nothing, just admiring you. Taehyung looked up when Jungkook said that. He stuttered at the snappy answer just now. We have been together so long, couldn't admire me then. Taehyung felt a blush creep up his neck when, even though he tried to act off, Taehyung looked away, but his hand was grabbed by Jungkook that he had put on the table. Yes, but now I'm admiring you as my fiance. Jungkook smiled. He grasped the back of Taehyung's hand with his long fingers. Taehyung almost held his breath on his own speed. How was he going to survive a man like Jungkook? Jungkook laughed as he saw how Taehyung was averting his gaze and his cheeks flushed. He stopped that now. Taehyung mumbled. He looked at the ring on his finger. Jungkook was twirling it between his fingers. Have you finished eating yet? Taehyung felt his face grow hotter, and the more he looked at Jungkook, the more inappropriate his thoughts were getting. Jungkook really knew how to use that mouth. He could always make Taehyung feel all kind of things, and he didn't even know how much it affected him. Yes, why? Jungkook asked. Taehyung gripped his hand tighter and he cleared his throat. You are not only one wanting to admire someone, Taehyung said softly, his gaze on Jungkook as he bit his lips. Jungkook left his chest tighten and his blood rushed south. We better pay and leave then. Jungkook smiled and resolved. He stood up and pulled Taehyung with him by his hand after they paid. Jungkook was taking long. He strayed out to the restaurant and Taehyung all but happily walked after him, his hand tightly in Jungkook's grip. His heartbeat sped up when they arrived at the car and they got in before Jungkook dropped them back to their apartment on the highway. Jungkook interlocked his hand with their hands again. He was taking his time. He didn't want to rush this. They had a whole evening and night for Taehyung to admire him. Taehyung looked over at Jungkook as he kissed the back of his hand. Butterflies swirled in his stomach. Even now, after 2 years together, it still felt like they just started dating. The first kiss, the first touches, it's all still felt new to him, and he hoped that it would stay like that. He grew bolder while thinking about the amazing man next to him, how he had proposed to him last week in an intimate moment while they were walking on a shoreline. He loved that it was just them two. He had gone down on his knees while the sun was setting and Thang all but teared up when he asked him to the question. Of course, they had said yes. Who wouldn't? He was so terribly in love with him. His chest tightened and his body felt warm. He leaned over and kissed Jungkook's cheeks. What is it? Jungkook hummed, his finger now on Thang's thigh, squeezing it. Just admiring you, Thang is teased. Jungkook grinned and uttered his gaze from the road for a second to look at Thang. He winked at him and Thang leaned in to kiss those inviting lips quickly. He didn't want to distract Jungkook any further while driving. Before he could, a bright light flashed at them and Thang gasped when he looked out the front window. Two lights came racing straight at them. Watch out, Jungkook, he screamed, and all his muscles didn't stop. A long crash shook them both, and Thang closed his eyes. His body was jolted through the car, and his head smashed back against the headrest. He yelled out when he felt a stupid pain in his leg. Jungkook, please no, he screamed before everything went dark. Doctor, he's starting to wake up. Thang's eyes darted from left to right, but he didn't see anything. He could only hear the voices around him and the loud beeping noise beside him under his eyelids. He could see light coming through and with a lot of effort blinking them open once, twice. He groaned as the bright light hurt his eyes and he squinted them. He tried again and this time it was easier and the light wasn't hurting his eyes anymore. Taehoon, can you hear me? Someone said, and Taehoon tried to open his mouth to talk. It was easier said than done, and the only thing came out of his mouth was a light squeak. By now he could see his surroundings. Where was he? He looked around with him at the white and steel walls, the white covers and the white floors. Was he in a hospital? Suddenly he remembered the lights, the crash. Jungkook, where was he with the light strength he had? He sat up and looked around him. He was alone in the room, other than a nurse and probably a doctor by his side. Taehoon, lie down, please. You just had an accident and you need to rest, the nurse said, and she pushed Taehoon down by his shoulder. No, where is Jungkook? Taehoon started to panic and he got out under the cover. He discovered his hand and connected to the IV drips. The nurse was trying to usher Taehoon back in the bed, but Taehoon was pushing her arm away. The doctor was now next to the nurse, also trying to calm him down, but Taehoon only wanted one thing. He needed to know, where is Jungkook? Please, let me see him, please, Taehoon said harshly. His voice still not fully used to talking. You need to recover first. Lie down. Mr. Jian is still in research surgery. He will be back here soon, the nurse said as she helped Taehyung to lie back down. Taehyung let her this time. Jungkook was in surgery. Why was it so bad? Oh, please let him be alright. Taehyung prayed to any god out there. He felt tears brim at his back of his eyes, threatening to fall, but he held them in. He had to be strong. If it wasn't for him, they in an wouldn't have been in an accident at all. Young felt the guilt gripped in his chest. He felt his breath quicken, and the nurse once again tried to calm him down. Please let him be alright. It's all my fault. Taehyung panicked, and the doctor had to restrain him on the bed. His legs was hurting immensely, but all he cared about was Jungkook. Give him something to calm down. Taehyung gasped when someone pushed a needle in his arm. His vision blurred and everything went dark once again. The next moment he woke up, the room was dark. Only a little light illuminated from the bedside table. Taehyung looked around and he moved his sore limbs. His leg was wrapped in a cast and his arms were covered in bruises and cuts. Other than that, he was unharmed. He looked over and his breathing just in the corner of on the other side of the room was now a bed, and in it lay a slender and tall body. He knew exactly who that belongs to. He quickly tried to get out of the bed without alarming others. Jungkook, he whispered. His feet hit the ground and with all his might stumbled over to the other bed. He was sweating when he finally gripped the end of the bed. His leg was hurting, but he didn't care. He could finally see Jungkook again. His heart broke at the sight beside him. In the big hospital bed lay the unmoving pale body. A bandage was wrapped around his head and his face had a lot of cuts. His arms had the same cuts and he looked so wrinkled like that. Taehyung slowly moved to the other side of bed and touches Jungkook's arm. Jungkook he tried again, but no response came. Taehyung interlocked their fingers and he caressed the back of the bruised hand, all bandaged up. Taehyung winced in pain in his body and he slowly got up on bed and lay down next to Jungkook on his side. He didn't want to be parted from him for a second. He curled up against Jungkook and looked at his fiancé. He was devastated at the sight. A tear fell from his eyes and his lips trembled. A soft sob left his lips. I'm sorry. Please wake up. It's all my fault. I'm so sorry. Taehyung sobbed and he bruised his head in Jungkook's neck. He kept apologizing and shaking Jungkook until he fell asleep, curled up to Jungkook. A moment waked him up out of his slumber and he groaned. The sleeping position wasn't the best and his body hurt all over even more. He looked up and he tensed. A nurse rushed inside and saw Taehyung lying next to Jungkook. So what are you doing? Get back to your own bed. The patient needs to rest. She groaned. Taehyung grabbed Taehyung by his hand and helped him to off the bed. But Taehyung tried to stay at Jungkook's side. He struggled to stay by the bed as the nurse was pulling him back. A groan had them both stop what they were doing and look at where it came from. After groan came, it was Jungkook. Taehyung's heart sped up and he stumbled to his side and grabbed his hand. Jungkook, Jungkook, are you awake? Please, Taehyung whispered and he kissed his cheek. Eyes fluttered open. Taehyung couldn't be happier. The eyes were first unfocused but soon Taehyung all forget about his own injuries when those chocolate eyes focused on him. Jungkook, oh, I'm so happy you're awake. I was so worried. Taehyung once again felt the tears threaten to fall. The nurse had been busy with calling the doctor, so they had the moment for themselves. Taehyung was so happy Jungkook had finally woken up. He gasped when Jungkook pulled away his hand, were pushed away and out of Jungkook's fingers. Taehyung pulled back and looked within at Jungkook, who was looking at him with a frown. What's wrong? Are you in pain? Do I need to call the nurse? Taehyung asked. The next thing Jungkook said had the ground crumbled under Taehyung's feet. Who are you? Jungkook looked at Taehyung and Taehyung felt his blood drain from his face. He stumbled back and his legs gave out and he was once again started feeling the pain in his body. Jungkook, I'm Taehyung. You don't remember? Taehyung said, now not so confident anymore. Jungkook looked at him as he was crazy and had never seen him before. Jungkook knitted his eyebrows together. I don't know you. Taehyung swelled hard. How had this happened? Jungkook didn't remember him, but how? Please don't let this be true. Taehyung leaned in closer, again grabbed Jungkook's hand, but Jungkook pulled it away before he could, and Taehyung felt his heart shattered. He didn't know what to say and he was trying to form words, but what could he say? He just looked at Jungkook. The nurse came back in with the doctor and he was again unsure to his own bed. He let them, this time his body numb, his heart broken. He laid back down, his eyes still on the man on the other side of the room. He watches how the doctor and the nurses examining him, and after asking him several questions, he saw them looking at him before they turned back to Jungkook and said something Taehyung couldn't hear. This was all his fault. He did this. If he just didn't distract Jungkook with this, all wouldn't have happened. He felt the throat tighten up, but no tears gathered. He couldn't. He was still in shock. He tensed when the nurse was back at his side. You know, Mr. Jian, she asked, and Taehyung slowly nodded. What is your relation with him? Taehyung hesitated, but the way she found him curled up to next just now wasn't something a friend would do. I am his fiancé, Taehyung said softly. The nurse sighed. She looked at him with pity in her eyes, and Taehyung hated that. He already felt guilty enough, and her looking at him like that made him hate himself even more. I'm so sorry. It seems Jungkook is suffering from anemia. He doesn't remember anything from the last 3 years. Taehyung sighed at her and he nodded. It seems we have been together for 2 years. He tried to keep sane. He needed to be. His fingers trembled as he fumbled with his blanket. He was desperately trying to keep his tears, desperately trying not to break down. His chest hurt so much he was heartbroken and he gulped. He needed air. He was feeling like the world was crumbled down. The only person that can keep him sane was now on the other side of the room, not remembering him. So everyone, this is not going to be just end yet. There's going to be one more episode of this one shot. I hope you will love it. So see you again with another part of this episode.